Now we take you live back to the ANC's National Policy Conference, currently underway at the Nasrec Expo Center in the south of Johannesburg. And once again, our reporter, Eldrin Sempir, is standing by.
Well, Aubrey, we'll continue with our coverage of the ANC's policy conference taking place here in Nasrec as the sun is actually setting and it's getting a bit chilly outside here. But I guess one can only imagine what's happening inside the plenary. If some of the leaked reports are anything to go by, things are probably heating up. But let me just quickly ask the ANC Youth League president, Colin Miner, who now joins me. You are part of the delegates, or are part of the delegates, and you're inside the plenary session. What would you describe the mood like from the thousands of delegates from across the country who are part of the session?
Well, the mood is very well. Comrades are happy that we are meeting as per the tradition of the organization that every 5 years we meet to review our policies. So the mood is very well and there's high level of discipline in the Congress and illustrate that delegates are committed to deal with the task at hand.
Do you at all get the sense that there is unity in the party, or there's a lack of unity, but a possibility of the party being united?
Well, the ANC is facing serious challenges as we speak, and that should not amount to disunity. And we are moving from different corners in terms of the approach of how to deal with the challenges that we are facing. We know that as we are gathered here, enemies of the revolution and enemies of the ANC are waiting outside with white coffins, expecting us as delegates to come and deliver a dead corpse called the ANC to them to go and bury it. We will disappoint them after this conference that the ANC will not be dead, the ANC is not about to die, and the ANC will overcome these challenges.
And for many of the ANC's top six, if I'm not mistaken, about half of that number were people who have been in those positions over the past 10 years, President Jacob Zuma, as well as the Secretary General of the party, as well as the Deputy Secretary General of the party. What would the ANC Youth League's assessment of the ANC's top six, especially those three people that I've just mentioned, what would your assessment be of the tenure over the last past 10 years?
You know, in the organization, we don't assess individuals. You don't become a president and you are on your own. We assess the collective. And the time to assess the collective will be in December when they deliver a report to Congress, where a new leadership must emerge. This conference is convened specifically to look at policies and how do we renew the organization. Those who've got new policies or new views to sponsor and strengthening existing policies will then do so. So this is not the Congress to assess individuals. And as I'm saying, we are not going to assess three people. We are going to assess the 86 collective that we elected in Mangaung.
But last year, you guys weren't scared at all of assessing them. You even called for an early elective conference.
Well, you know, moving out of the elections, we did not say the top six. We said the ANC National Executive Committee.
Which includes the top six, of course.
No, the National Executive Committee. There is no structure called top six. We don't elect a structure called top six. Congress elects a structure called the National Executive Committee. We have raised that view. It was tested and it did not get support, and we moved on.
But those sentiments that were raised at the time, do you think that they are valid? Although, of course, we know that the call for the early elective conference was defeated. It didn't happen. But do you think that the sentiments that you raised in that report are valid?
No, you look, when we raise issues in the organization, they are engaged. We are engaged and we are persuaded. So what we are focusing on now is to rebuild the organization, refocus the ANC, so that it must continue as it is, the hope and parliament of the people of South Africa. That is our focus.
And what's your hopes for the elective conference? Come the elective conference, what type of leadership would you like to see? What type of leadership do you think will be able to take the ANC into the 2019 elections and the party will gain an overwhelming majority?
Well, the Youth League has had a meeting and has pronounced itself on the leadership. and there are engagements going on. We have said that we are willing to engage and to be engaged. So that leadership will only be elected in December, after engagements with other structures of the organization, including the branches, because the final arbiters in terms of leadership election is the branches of the African National Congress. So we leave that for that time and focus now on, after the elections in 2016, one of the things we said after the September NEC meeting is that the movement will self-correct. So we're focusing on issues like that one.
One of your predecessors is one of the people that you mentioned as part of the new top 7 structure that the ANC Youth League is proposing, Fikile Mbalula. And he hit out at the ANC Youth League, saying that he's not willing to stand to become Deputy Secretary General of the party. He argues that he was defeated in Mangaung. He also says that Ace Makgashulo, whom you are nominating or calling on to be nominated as the party's Secretary General, he says, quote unquote, he's a definite no-no.
Well, we have met with the former president of the Youth League, Comrade Mbalula, and we have resolved the issues. And he understands where we come from. But we continue to engage with him and many other people.
Does that mean that he agreed to accept your nomination, or he's agreed to the idea of being nominated by the ANC Youth League?
Nomination can only be accepted when the Electoral Commission asks you if you are available as a person.
But surely you must have spoken to him and asked him whether he is available.
Nomination is accepted in Congress.
But you
not in a boardroom.
You must have spoken to him and asked him whether he is available.
We have met with Mbalula and addressed a number of issues, including the tweet. So we understand each other, where we come from, and we are continuing to engage.
Did he apologize?
No, I can't tell you the details of our meeting with the former president. It's between me and him.
You accused him of trying to rule from the grave, and that's the reason why I'm asking whether he did apologize.
We have engaged with Comrade Mbalula on each and every issue, and we have agreed, and we are continuing to engage.
Let's speak. Why Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma? Why not Cyril Ramaphosa?
I thought you would ask me about the policy conference, because we are here for the policy conference. And
yes,
and we have responded to why we believe Mama Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma. So, and we don't want to be focused on leaving important issues that we must be raising in the policy conference and talk about leadership preference. That thing is there, it's announced, we are being engaged, and we're also engaging.
Well, you and I would agree that this is the policy conference. However, though, that's a very crucial part about whom the structures of the ANC is nominating or calling on to be nominated, whom they endorse to lead the party, because that in its own, it's quite important. The ANC documents also speak about having capable leaders to lead the party, and that's the reason why I'm asking this question. Why Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma and why not Cyril Ramaphosa?
Let me tell you that we have said that in the press conference we had. We are informed by, firstly, the ability of the comrades to can lead the ANC during this phase of our revolution. Secondly, we have said that all of us were governed by the constitution of the ANC, which says every member can elect and be elected. Therefore, Comrade Nkosazana can be elected. Her credential speaks volumes. She can be elected. And we did say that we respect the Deputy President of the ANC. However, we have arrived to that conclusion of Nkosazana Zuma.
Do you think he's incapable?
No, it's not because he's incapable. He qualifies to be elected as per the constitution.
Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma is better than him?
No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to say that this one is better or not better. We have picked up Nkosazana Zuma. There are comrades who support Cyril Ramaphosa. So we are not going to be suppressed, and we're not going to suppress people from supporting whoever they want to support.
So, I'm going to ask the question again. Are you then arguing that Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa is incapable of leading the ANC and leading the country?
We have not said that. We don't. He's not our preferred candidate. There are people who prefer him. He's not. And should he emerge, we will support him like any other president.
Just a quick one before I let you go. an idea that was said by the ANC KZN chairperson, Sihle Zigalala, when I just spoke to him earlier on. He was saying that ideally, when you go to the elective conference, there must be one presidential nominee to harness unity in the party and ensure that there's no divisions in the party. However, though, in a case where you have two nominees, one of those nominees must then become the deputy president. Is the ANC Youth League keen to an idea of that sort?
We have said that we are engaged, we are engaging, and we are also being engaged. So what Comrade Sihle says to you, it's a view of KZN. Province X will have a particular view. After we have engaged amongst ourselves, we will then come to a determination to agree or disagree and go to Congress. And as we speak, as I've said, the final arbiters will always be branches, but we are prepared to be engaged. We want unity of the African National Congress.
And young people. And young people.
Engaged. Of course, we've raised that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, then thank you so much. There you have it from the president of the ANC Youth League, speaking on substantive issues that the country is facing at the moment, but also the role of young people, but also what's happening within the party in terms of the leadership debate, which is something quite important at the moment, considering that we are just about less than 6 months away from the ANC's elective conference, and those front runners, of course, being Cyril Ramaphosa, as well as Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma, who's also considered to be a front runner. And of course, the ANC Youth League has endorsed Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma. Of course, the ANC KZN has been considered to be one of those provinces that's also endorsing her. However, though, the chairperson of KZN has said that they will not pronounce on that decision as yet, as it stands. Right now, I'm joined by Qoboshiyane. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. I'm going to ask you a question that I asked Colin Maine earlier on. What's the mood like?
Well, I think the mood is quite electrifying. It's quite exuberant, and I think our people are just ready to ensure that the African National Congress is taken seriously, and I think the policy position of the province are quite concrete to ensure that we are delivering the best desired outcomes of the conference.
Just going to ask you to lift your mic there just a little bit. It seems like you don't have the rally voice there going. Yes. And this mood and this atmosphere that the ANC finds itself in at the moment, and the issue around this unity in the party. Yes. Do you think that when the party leaves this conference, and Colin Maine was saying that some expectations are that there will be coffins waiting outside this venue, and the ANC will be buried. Do you think that after this conference, the party will indeed emerge united?
Actually, I think this is a conference of resurrection. We don't have an alternative route. We're supposed to reconstruct the organization to ensure that we imbue the cultural values of the movement. A member, a leader, wherever one is, supposed to contribute towards the possibilities of remodeling the movement to still show that capacity to attract members and leaders together through the organizational renewal. And I believe if the African National Congress can do that, there will be a love back from our society, and the social distance we are speaking about will be the thing of the past.
And the ANC documents actually do speak about how some ANC members who are loyal ANC members to the party have left the party. Actually, the secretariat, the report rather by Gwede Mantashe as well, speaks to that, speaks to how there were talented leaders inside the party who have now left the party.
Well, if we can promote the organization, the individuals will die. But we are an intergenerational organization. We're supposed to tap from the wisdom of those that were leading the organization before, so that we can construct a new vision for the future leaders of tomorrow. And I believe we still need everybody inside the House of the African National Congress. There is no problem that can never be resolved. This organization has passed through passage of history with a lot of challenges, but we are here today having delivered democracy. 23 years, there is also economic transition that would need to see happening.
The argument has always been that the ANC as an organization is always bigger than an individual. I wonder whether you get the sense that almost seems as though that there are some individuals who are bigger than the party, and it seems as though that the party has lost control over those individuals.
Well, African National Congress is bigger than any individuals. Individuals come, individual goes, and the ANC remains. And I think that's where we're supposed to strengthen all ANC members to understand that there will be time to be invited to lead the organization, and there will also be time where you are thanked by the same organization for the next generation of leaders to come. And I think it's a question of understanding that we need to live a democratic life as a movement, because since we were born, leadership came and leadership also had to be changed time and again.
Do you have to change that leadership when the time comes, when the Constitution says at the end of the fifth year, that's when we can only change leadership, not in between?
Yes, no, for sure. When an organization of a frame, there is a determination why there is a 5-year strategic agenda that we're supposed to adopt. There is why there is government that must take 5 years. That mandate must be carried through by those leaders that have been elected. So it's a question of making assessment, evaluation of the impact of the work we are doing, such that we can evaluate each time and the society can say we still believe that the African National Congress is still relevant. And I think the relevance have been tested in 2014, and 62% said yes, continue African National Congress up until 2019.
And 2016, that number dwindled by 8%, which the president raised as well.
And that's why here we said we need to go concretely on how we are going to renew this organization. And I think we cannot run away from the fact that there are things that require very serious, well-considered, selfless discussion, where everybody will be in a position to say we might have erred here and there, but we need to come together in order to correct the deficiencies identified.
Does it at all scare you sometimes, you know, when you... And let's speak about the Brian Molefe issue, for instance, where it almost seemed as though that the ANC has come out as an opposition party to its own members, to its own leaders, to its own deployees, where the ANC had to release a statement and speak about how they oppose the reappointment of Brian Molefe as the ESCOM CEO. Also release a statement and almost accusing, or rather accusing, the minister of the Minister of Public Enterprise around lying.
Well, I think that's why as ANC we are motivating, for instance, here that to strengthen the headquarters so that we monitor our state, which is the ANC-led government. If these are the things that we can identify as a moral organization, there are things that we can do and there are things that we cannot do. And when we arrive at that stage, we need to make a determination of what is best for the interests of the people. And I think African National Congress has simply done that. It therefore means it's still an organization to be trusted with authority and power to lead in the state.
Does strengthening the headquarters mean more permanent top officials in the party? Where does the Eastern Cape stand on that matter?
We've been clear that chairperson, for instance, of various committees at national level must be considered at times to be full-time, and the national executive must work all around the clock. It can't be only 3 top officials that are manning the entire nation. And we believe also in provinces we need to deliberate on this matter, which strategic communication or heads of departments within the provincial executive that must be identified to be full-time, so that the organization is stronger, coherent and congealing on matters like these. And I believe if we can do so, ANC will still live longer.
Qoboshiyane, thank you so much for your time. Well, certainly, some of the proposals actually in the ANC documents include reducing the number of NEC members and reducing the number of NEC members who become members of the executive to ensure that the NEC is strengthened. So we'll have to wait and see how that debate unfolds here inside these plenary sessions. But also quite crucially is the role of SOEs and the role that they play in terms of this buzzword, the radical economic transformation, and some of the issues that we'll have to wait and see how those unfold. It's back to you in studio.